Welcome back to Central Valley Talk. Thanks for joining us. We're live on Facebook, YouTube TV, and at CentralValleyTalk.com. Austin Reed coming to you live from the Tower District at our Tower District studios. Beautiful day here in Central California. Hey, my next guest is Christopher Brown with Fennemore, Dowling, Aaron. And first off, this is your first time here on Central Valley Talk, so welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
What are we going to be talking about today?
Well, I really want to talk about particularly commercial properties, commercial leases, purchase and sale agreements, and the COVID, how the COVID has affected things currently with leases and currently with purchase agreements, or in the future, how you should maybe be drafting your documents if you're a landlord or if you're a tenant, because obviously they have different points of view about what should be in a lease to protect them.
Now, how long have you owned Fennemore, Dowling, Aaron?
Fennemore, Dowling, we recently merged.
Okay.
So that was back in November. So we have about 180 attorneys now in 4 states. Prior to that, we were Dowling, Aaron. I've been there for almost 30 years now. Coming up, but actually this February 21st, I'll be there for 30 years. So
you serve all of Central California?
Pretty much all Central California. I do business up in the wine country. I do business down in Los Angeles. My practice is pretty broad in real estate, environmental law, land use, and so we get pulled in. A lot of our clients are national or international, so they have projects all over the place. And now with Fennemore being in 4 different states, we have a lot broader practice in different areas.
Busy. You're busy.
Been busy since March. Since March, I have not, except for a business meeting, I have not taken a lunch since March.
Oh, my
Literally
goodness.
working through the time. So even coming here today was a push for me, but the firm would like us to be out there with the merger, so I've come out for this.
Well, yeah, and getting the word out. So with COVID, let's start with convictions. What's the climate like for that?
For convictions?
Yeah.
Oh, evictions.
Evictions.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said conviction. I'm going.
No, I did say conviction.
I'm not a criminal lawyer here.
Put a C in there.
Well, evictions, at a time in the city of Fresno at least, the mayor had kind of put a stop to that. So basically there weren't any commercial evictions. That is open up now, and you can evict a commercial tenant.
Okay.
What I'm finding, though, is most landlords are not, because they understand the situation, and who are they going to get to fill the spot anyways? So what they're trying to do is work with the tenant, see how that might work out. They're extending it. And then the landlord, of course, on the opposite side is having difficulty with their lenders, and the lenders seem to be working with them. Landlords, of course, if they have personal guarantees, they're sitting in a pretty good position. The ones not with personal guarantees, which is one of the things, if you're a tenant or landlord, those are things you should be looking at. Those tenants, obviously with personal guarantees, they don't necessarily just want to abandon it because they may be stuck with the rent anyways. So most people are trying to work it out, but I have been involved in a number of situations where we actually do evict the commercial tenant.
Well, it's nice, though, that a lot of landlords, they understand the situation. So I think it's really about coming together and figuring out what the best option is.
Right. A lot of tenants are paying a portion. Maybe some tenants, I have some tenants that I represent that are fairly large. If they're not being allowed to be open, they're maybe paying at least the CAMs, which are the common area maintenance fees. They're doing other things, but it really depends on the business. And as I said, you have to look at your lease, whether you're a landlord or tenant. If I was advising a landlord moving forward, I'd want to make sure they got personal guarantees. If I was advising a tenant, I would say, see if you can get a limited, like a 5-year tenant guarantee or something, because that at the end of the day is going to make a big difference about your financial well-being, either by the landlord or the tenant.
Let's talk a little bit about foreclosures during this time of COVID.
Foreclosures are very limited because, again, there's really, what are you going to do with the property? Lenders do not except for hard money lenders, and we do have some hard money lenders in the Fresno area, most lenders do not want to take properties back. That is not what they're in business for. And so lenders, again, are trying to work with the owners or the landlords. When I see laws try to go through that try to basically say that, we had a proposition recently about taxes and raising taxes on commercial properties. Well, who does that hurt? That hurts the tenant, right? because in pretty much every single commercial lease, the tenant's picking up the real property taxes. So this is kind of a strange environment. We don't have our legislature really in session either. So we have a governor who's mandating things. And it'll be real interesting what the legislature does when they come back, because that's going to, if you take from one person, it has a ripple effect throughout the industry. So it could be lenders not loaning us any more money because you've just done something to them, or it could be landlords really cutting back on what they'll allow tenants to do.
It's a very eggshell situation.
Right. I mean, it's just if you drop a pebble in the water, it's going to move, and people are going to be affected by it. So you got to watch who you're trying to help, because you're probably going to hurt a lot.
So what else does Fennemore, Dowling, Aaron do?
We pretty much are a business firm. So we pretty much do everything from A to Z for our business. We don't do divorces. We don't do criminal law. We have great people that we refer things out to. No convictions. But we do deal in white-collar crime, potentially, but usually not for the white-collar person, but for the business that's been hurt by the white-collar crime person. But we are pretty much broad-based. My practice is largely, again, real estate, environmental. Also do a lot of work in nonprofit area, too.
Any other advice or anything else you're seeing right now, as it doesn't seem like COVID's going away anytime soon, so you guys are going to stay busy?
Yeah, and actually our weird, strange thing is my busyness is, and I do advise people on COVID, is really because the industries in the valley are doing quite well. Ag is just doing incredibly. It's advancing. It's selling. People are eating food. More people are buying food at home.
Sure.
Residential real estate is just blowing out the door. Interest rates are low, so people are buying real estate. So in reality, this is a boom time for the majority of the clients I work with. They're not doing poorly. They're doing well. The ones that are doing poorly are the, nail salons, restaurants, things of that nature, and we represent some of them too. But it's a changing market, and I agree, it's not changing. I think if you have a current lease and you're looking at it, there's different things you have that potentially could allow you to get out, and we don't have time to get into those, but they deal with concepts of impossibility, commercial frustration, if there's a force majeure clause in there, but those are kind of legal technicalities. I did want to get out that if you're doing a future lease, and just to throw this out there, we already know about COVID, so some of these defenses you might have had as a tenant have disappeared because we know this could happen. So a lot of those were based on nobody would have ever thought this would have happened. But in moving forward, you might want to think as a tenant of having that section that deals with destruction of the property, where it says that if it can't be repaired within a year or something, that the tenant has the ability to get out. Well, maybe you want to start thinking as a tenant, maybe you want to, if we have a COVID situation, that you can get out. And vice versa with the landlord, maybe you want to think about some protections on the other side.
Real estate law, that's what you guys do, that's what you're best at. How can people get more information?
You can look at our website, and that pretty much does it. It's fennemorelaw.com, and if you go to that, you can pull up us, you can pull up other states. Again, we do full business, so it's not just real estate. We do corporations. We probably have the most advanced estate planning group in the area. We're one of the few that actually litigates it. When Mother Teresa was alive, we actually represented her.
Really?
We've represented some big names that pretty much everybody would have heard of, because these large, as everybody knows, these ag estates can be worth literally billions.
Right.
We are not a poor area when it comes to money. We're not Silicon Valley, but there's a lot of wealth here, and the estate planning and the type of people that end up with it, potentially like Mother Teresa, we end up representing them at times.
And what's your phone number?
Phone number is 559-432-4500.
All right, very good. Christopher, thanks for coming on. Good to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
All right, you're watching Central Valley Talk, and we'll be back with more in just a bit. Don't go anywhere.